There were chaotic scenes this afternoon as the Minister for the East of England met with regional MPs for the first time. Just 14 out of 54 MPs bothered to turn up, and the meeting had to be cancelled.
It was supposed to be an important day for local democracy. Inside Bedford Borough Hall, House of Commons officials, House of Commons headed paper, even the House of Commons sound system. For the first time, the regional minister, Barbara Follett, would take questions and discuss policy with the region's MPs. But by the allotted start time, only 14 had turned up, not enough for a quorum. Some decided to stay on and have a meeting anyhow. Others stormed off in disgust.
It's been a waste of time. I'm deeply disappointed and angry that we haven't had this opportunity of pressing and probing the government, promoting the case for our constituents in a forum which was intended for that purpose.
The Tory whips had asked Conservative MPs to come along today. Most chose not to. The party is suspicious of regional ministers.
What you have is a minister for the regions, but a lot of the responsibility is covered by the various Secretaries of State for health, transport, education and so on.
Is that why Tories stayed away today?
I can't speak for other members of Parliament not turning up here, but I do think that the whole issue of regional government needs to be looked at.
Those who stayed discussed road improvements in the region and getting through the recession. Interesting points were made, but it wasn't a parliamentary committee as the government had intended. Everyone agreed it had all been a bit of a shambles and not the best of days for local democracy and local accountability. Andrew Sinclair, BBC Look East, Bedford.
Well, still to come in Look East, a former colonel of 3 Para talks to Look East about our future in Afghanistan. And Mike is back with day 2 of Look East Unplanned.
Yes, today we found our way to Kettering allotments, where we found some good old characters. Look East Unplanned after more news from your part of the region.
A television presenter is recovering after being stabbed in the neck in a village shop in Norfolk. Matt Pritchard stars in the anarchic MTV series Dirty Sanchez. The attack happened during a visit to Toftwood near Dereham.
Matt Pritchard has made a name for himself as a prankster.
Whatever that is.
May the best man win.
And on MTV he undergoes an array of physical challenges, here withstanding the force of an enormous waterfall. He is no stranger to pain. But this was him yesterday, bandaged up in the back of an ambulance after being stabbed. True to form, he captured the moment on camera. He'd been visiting his girlfriend in Dereham when he got involved in a dispute at this shop. He was stabbed in the neck. Staff from the co-op gave first aid to Mr. Pritchard before paramedics arrived. And it shouldn't be difficult piecing together exactly what happened. Police have already spoken to a number of witnesses, and there are at least 8 security cameras inside. Today on his Twitter site, Matt Pritchard was predictably blasé, telling fans, "Just to let you know, I'm fine after being stabbed in Norwich. I was trying to protect a shop full of women and children," and added, "Never been in an ambulance with sirens going before." A man has been arrested. Meanwhile, Matt Pritchard's recovering at home in Wales, reflecting on one painful challenge he'd rather forget. Joel Matt, BBC Look East, Dereham.
The Old Bailey has been told the homes of 2 detectives from Essex were firebombed in a revenge attack. It's alleged that Wayne Taylor blamed them for ruining his family Christmas after presents were opened during a search. He denies 2 charges of attempted murder. A neo-Nazi who was carrying 2 firebombs when he was arrested at the railway station in Lowestoft has been jailed for at least 6 years at the Old Bailey. Neil Lewington was found guilty of terrorism charges. Police found a bomb-making factory at his home.
It prides itself on being the home of the sport of kings. For more than 400 years, Newmarket has been at the heart of horse racing. Now nearly £11 million is to be spent on a new visitor attraction, explaining the town's unique place in racing history.
At the National Horse Racing Museum in Newmarket, a spectacular array of exhibits charts the story of British horse racing. From gold vases to the skeleton of the great champion Hyperion, to spectacular paintings by Sir Alfred Munnings. All jostle for space.
The collection itself is of national significance. We have some wonderful paintings here, trophies, all the usual things you'd expect. We were opened in 1983, and since then the collection has grown and grown to the point that we've not expanded the building, but the collection has, and we really are literally bursting at the seams.
In a storeroom upstairs, countless exhibits remain hidden from view. But soon that could change, with plans for a new museum and study centre nearby.
We're now going into Palace Yard. This has had connections with royalty since 1672 when King Charles II came here.
A long time.
It is a long time. And what we want to do is to transform this into the museum. So this is the old trainer's house. This will become the main part of the museum. And then we'll be able to use all the stable boxes around for other displays.
In the Palace House, there will be an art gallery, while in the backyard, retired racehorses will be retrained. 5 acres of land will become their paddocks.
It is going to be a real bringing together of 3 organisations that blend in well together and can tell a fantastic story about horse racing nowadays, and using the heritage to tell that story well.
It'll cost £10.9 million to be sourced from private donations and grants. It's hoped the attraction, marking Newmarket's pivotal role in racing history, could be opened in 3 to 4 years' time. Richard Daniel, BBC Look East, Newmarket.
Essex Police won't be taking any further action against 7 members of staff at a care home who were suspended in July. It followed allegations of poor care and verbal abuse at Humphrey Lodge in Thaxted. The home looks after elderly people with dementia. Officers say no crime was committed. Train drivers at National Express East Anglia are to go on strike again on September the 21st. The union ASLEF says the staff are refusing to accept a deal aimed at ending a dispute over pay and conditions. A series of strikes were staged last month, but the action was suspended after a new deal was put forward. ASLEF said today its 800 members had refused to accept that deal.
The Port of Harwich is trying to attract more business from cruise liners. The idea is to bring more money into the area by getting passengers to stop off in the town.
This is the Costa Atlantica. It's one of over 50 cruise liners that's used the port this year. Most of them just starting to end their journey at Harwich, but these passengers have stopped en route. And as the port's developed, it's hoped more tourists will be attracted.
It just makes the whole experience of coming through Harwich easier and better for the passengers, helps us to attract the modern cruise ships here. To get the modern cruise ships, we need to have the state-of-the-art facilities, and that's what this helps to give us.
And to help bring in this sort of custom, today this new gangway was opened. It's a multi-million-pound investment, which means the port can accommodate some of the world's largest cruise liners.
This ship has something like 1,600 people on it. If those 1,600 people, well, as they are, they've got off the ship, they've gone into Harwich, they've gone into North Essex, they spend money. So the more that do that, the more prosperity, the more jobs it brings to North Essex.
And whilst the captain was presented with his own memento of Essex, more passengers returned from Harwich.
This is a relatively small one. Some of them are carrying about 3,500 passengers. This one is 2,500 passengers. So if you look at, we're getting over 50 calls a year. That's over 100,000 potential visitors to this part of the world.
And with passenger numbers exceeding last year's total, it's hoped more visitors on this scale will mean the same again next year. Felicity Simper, BBC Look East, Harwich.